Hey, I'm Ryan with More to Money. Today I want to show you how you can get started with paid ads as a personal finance coach. We'll start with some high-level strategies so you can understand what it is we're exactly trying to achieve, and then we'll move into some tactics so you can take advantage and get started right away. So we'll start with the high-level strategy, and then we'll move into the tactics on how you can actually make this work for you today. If there's one thing you should take away from this video, it's that as a personal finance coach, you should never be selling your services when it comes through your paid ads. What you should be doing instead is positioning yourself as giving away free value to people over a longer period of time. What we need to understand here is that you're starting a conversation. You're not finishing it. And so at the moment that these people first interact with your brand through your paid ads, this is probably the first time they've ever seen you. They don't know what it is you're offering. They don't know how valuable your coaching will be to them. And so what we're doing is we're starting that conversation. So the graphic that I have on the screen here shows you kind of the life cycle of this conversation. First, we're going to start with a completely cold audience. Over time, you're going to bring a subset of that cold audience into your services. They're going to start to become free users in your platform. It's at that point that you can kind of start delivering value over a longer period of time. Over time, this will shift that group of people from just being on the free user side of things into more of what we call an engaged subscriber. They're going to start looking for you for solutions. They're going to start coming to you whenever they have a question about their personal finance. They're going to view you as the expert. So once we get to that stage of those people then being an engaged subscriber, the next step is to start that conversation about actually selling your services. And so this gives you enough time to kind of build that conversation, build a rapport with this person, and actually be able to answer, is this someone that would actually benefit from me coaching them? And so the next question here is, okay, how do I get started? How do I actually begin to deliver value and start to pull these people in? What you're going to do is you're going to make an advertisement that leads into your website. It leads into what we call lead magnets, and I'll talk about that just here in a little bit. So let's look at what a sample advertisement might look like. What you need to understand whenever you're making an ad is that you're speaking to a direct person with a real problem. It's not just a hard pitch on, I'm this person and this is what I offer from a coaching perspective. You're trying to get in front of people that have real problems so that you can solve them for you. And so I have an example here. If you were to target a group of people that were maybe interested in purchasing their first home, I've got an ad that would show exactly what that might look like. Know what you can afford, then go find it, not the other way around. So it's really obvious right away. I'm talking to a specific person with a very real problem. This is a person that doesn't know how much house they can afford, and they need to figure that out. So once we've got this ad in front of them, you'll notice at the bottom of the ad, there's a sign up button. What we're trying to do is get people off of the social media platform onto your ecosystem where you control the voice, you control the messaging, and you're in control of the technology. The next step to that will be whenever they click on that sign up button, we want them to land on what's called a lead magnet. Now, what a lead magnet is it delivers instant value. It solves that problem right away. And they're going to get that value within seconds of talking to you. So everyone knows on social media, the attention span of most people is really small when it comes to whenever they're scrolling through their social media. So the strategy here is get them off of the social media into your platform where you control that messaging and kind of switch their train of thought to where they're actually thinking more about this problem that you're about to solve for them. So you can see I have on the screen here an example lead magnet. What's really important to note here is that the page that they're landing on directly speaks to the problem that you put forth in the ad. We're not taking them to a home page where we're going to be pitching services or trying to get them to sign up for a package. You're just continuing that conversation. You're answering the question that they're interested in from the ad, and you know they're interested in it because they've clicked on it. So if they've clicked on it, you want to really quickly provide this solution. And so the lead magnet I have on the screen would just have a couple of inputs. They just input, for example, take-home pay, down payment, what their example mortgage rate might be, and instantly you're going to give them that estimated affordability. You'll notice below that there's a little form that says, want to get the full report, create your free account now. That's the point that we're trying to convert that person from just being an outside cold audience into a free user. So we want to just offer that up to try to pull in the people that might be interested. I've got another example here that I want to just quickly run through just to kind of get your mind going and so you can understand how this might apply to you. So a really common example we come across talking to finance coaches every day is that kind of the main lane they operate in is providing assistance when it comes to budgeting. So maybe potential clients don't know how to budget, they don't know if their budget's right, they don't even really know where to get started. So what we can do here is we can put an ad directly in front of people that are specifically interested in figuring out their budgets. You can see my ad here says a budget isn't a spreadsheet. It's ever yes, you don't have to second guess. So we're speaking directly to a certain person. They're interested in budgeting and they use spreadsheets. What this is going to do is it's going to kind of trigger a little bit of curiosity from someone there. They might be thinking, well, I use a spreadsheet. Why shouldn't I? And so it's at that point that they can follow this same path, click that sign up button, and this is the lead magnet that they would land on. It's different than the first one. It has nothing to do with home affordability because that person's not interested in home affordability at that time. They're interested in solving their budget problem. So that's why it's so crucial. We have to get out of this thought of sending people toward a home page, and instead we need to send them to a page that's directly speaking to their problem. So in this example, it's again, very short information, not a lot of detail that we need to collect. We need their name, email, password, and if they want to create a starter budget, they just need to input their age and state. And just like that, they can get value. They can get a budget to start with, and all of a sudden they're in your ecosystem and they're interacting with the services that you offer. So I want to switch here a little bit. Let's have a conversation around this to really drive this point home. When you see these two pictures on the screen, which of these pages would you be more likely to click on? For me, I find the one on the left incredibly more engaging. It speaks directly to the problem. It sounds like that person is talking directly to me. They're not trying to just pitch their services. They're actually trying to solve my problem. The other thing with the homepage on the right is that I'm sure you've seen this type of page 1,000 times across 1,000 different websites. Everyone now just scrolls through homepages and your drop-off rates are incredibly high because they just know what it is you just giving out some general basic information. And it's a well-known statistic that your homepage is actually the least converting page on your entire website. So when it comes to paid ads, why would we send someone to our page that we know is not going to convert as well as something else? It just doesn't make any sense. So we really need to understand this high-level strategy of why we're using lead magnets and the value that they can actually bring. So moving now into the tactics from the strategy, how would we actually get started with this? I've got a couple screenshots on the video here to show you what it actually looks like to set up your account. So whenever you're in Meta, which is Facebook and Instagram, once you've created your account, you'll see this little sidebar on the left. The second one down after account overview is your campaigns. This is how you're going to get started with your ads. So whenever you start that ad, you've got a couple different options. We're going to select leads. Leads means what we're actually looking for here is a conversion. We're looking to get that group of free users. The reason we want to select this is we're going to let Facebook use its machine learning to try to find people that sign up. It will optimize to those people that sign up and then put you in front of other people that are just like that. So over a 15 to 30 day period, it's going to get better at finding these people for you. So this leads to the next part. There are three kind of levels to your advertisements. There's the campaign, which is what we're trying to do. And then as we move into the ad set, that's who we're trying to target. And so this point is where you would create your audience. So you can see I've got just a very broad example here. This is just if I want to get in front of some people that might be interested in personal finance. And I do that in a very high level way. In Facebook, I just said, give me a bunch of people that are interested in Ramit Sethi or Dave Ramsey. These are well-known personal finance influencers in the space. So I'm just making the assumption here, if these people have shown interest in those two guys in particular, they're probably taking their personal finance a little bit more seriously than just an average everyday user. And so this is kind of just a broad starting point to just create a very general audience. You don't need to use my specific details on my audience here. You can use inside their audience there. You can just start to type in some demographics. You can type in job titles. You can type in interests. You can get really creative here to try to figure out different groups of people that you can get in front of. The last thing I want to go over in this video is kind of explaining how this actually works. So the results may vary here. This is a test campaign that we use to just kind of test out our lead magnets and refine them and make sure that they convert at a rate that we're happy with. And so our performance obviously doesn't guarantee anything for you. You'll have to kind of run this on your own. But this is just really to prove that it can actually be done. And so over a 15-day period here, we ran this exact ad targeting those lead magnets of the home affordability, the budgets, and a couple others. What we found is we got 45 people to sign up for a free user account. So 45 website completed registrations for an average of around $10 per user. And so we spent around $450 to get those people. So what this is here to show you is that for around somewhere between $6 to $10 per user, you can actually start to get these people into your ecosystem. The key here is this is the beginning. To refer back to the beginning of the video, this is the start of the conversation. It's not the finish of the conversation. So you want to make sure you've got a really good strategy in place once you've actually started to draw in some of these people and get them into your ecosystem, that you have a strategy, whether that be emailing, direct outreach, just kind of continuing that conversation and providing more value over a long period of time. So this is just the end of session 1. This is a really high level overview of the strategy and a couple of tactics. Next time, we're going to dive a little bit more in detail into kind of the more sophisticated methods that you can take advantage of to make this really apply for your business. So if you're with us already and you want to kind of just have a conversation about, how would you do some targeting, a little bit more in depth, reach out to us, info@moretomoney.com. If you're a potential new client and you're interested in finding out a little bit more about branded tech, or how you can leverage paid ads for your business, go to moretomoney.com. If you scroll down, you'll see a demo. You can, on our calendar, you can sign up there, and we'd be happy to chat with you about anything. So thanks for watching, and talk to you soon.